I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This is our APTAT webinar series for August, almost not August anymore. And the topic is AVAIL, which is a great app that I wanted everyone to learn more about. We have Mike here with us. He's an assistive technology specialist with AVAIL, and I'm going to turn it over to Mike.
Thanks a lot, Ashley. Yeah, kind of seeing it's a great turnout today. So appreciate everybody being here. Really happy to connect with the group as a whole. I think some of you I've gotten a chance to speak with either one-to-one or as a group. Others I'm interacting with the first time today. So really excited to be here. Appreciate the time. Just to echo what Ashley said, any questions that anybody has at any point, feel free to jump in and interrupt. Just unmute yourself, give it a shout. If you feel more comfortable putting it in the chat, I'll try my best to keep an eye, but I think Ashley said she was going to give a hand there too. So want to go ahead just before I start with the demo of the software, just show you a quick, maybe 2-minute video, should help give a baseline understanding of the knowledge of the software. And then I'm going to jump into a little bit more. So let me go ahead and just pull up the video here. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see and the sound comes through.
Alex attended the Project Search Assessment Day in New Mexico. At the AVAIL by CentralReach station, he was asked to roll silverware using 2 different teaching methods. The first method with just a few visuals and verbal cues, and then again using the AVAIL app to complete the task. Here he is completing the task with in-person verbal prompting coming from the AVAIL specialist. Here is Alex's view when using AVAIL to roll the silverware.
Go get a knife, a fork, and a spoon and a napkin. Put knife in the top corner of napkin.
During Alex's second attempt, he used video modeling, images, and audio prompts within AVAIL to complete the task. AVAIL offers a built-in assessment tool to help learners reach independence over time and through repetition. An assessment was completed during Alex's first and second attempt of this task. Alex reached 12.5% accuracy on his first attempt and 100% on his second attempt while using AVAIL. By using AVAIL's digital prompts, Alex could watch and learn the specific instructions for each step in the task, replay those steps, and complete the task with more accuracy and confidence. Alex was so excited when he finished rolling the silverware correctly. When asked, he said he would choose AVAIL to learn this skill and more.
So as most of you, I'm sure, were able to gather, at its core, what the AVAIL software is it's individualized prompt-based software. So it allows somebody to take a task, break it down step by step, and help them walk through beginning and end to that step and help them accomplish it and build towards independence. The app itself is cross-compatible, so it's accessible on anything that operates on an Apple operating system, the mobile side, I should say, anything on the Apple operating system or the Android operating system, both anything 2007 or later. It's also there's a website to it as well, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you both sides to that today. Think about the software itself as a pyramid with 3 different levels, some permissions kind of going up and down it. Top of the pyramid is going to be the manager or admin login. Middle of the pyramid right now, it's called facilitators. That's any kind of direct support. So job coach, job developer, independent living staff, whoever would best fit right into there is providing direct support, fits in that middle of the pyramid. And then the base of the pyramid, most importantly, would be the learners themselves. I'm going to show it to you from the top down. So what I'm about to do is just share my screen and show you the website of the manager or admin login. Okay, perfect. So hoping everybody can see here. So what you're seeing, again, just to reiterate, that top of the pyramid on the website. So in that manager or admin login. From this login, you're able to see very broad bird's eye view of the usage of the software within the agency, within the school, whatever the setting is that's utilizing the software, you can see it in here. So going across the top, it's going to tell you the number of learners in the agency or school, the number of facilitators, the number of managers, or the number of passive facilitators, which is a singular role that I will explain in a couple minutes. It's going to tell you how many licenses have been purchased over how many have been deployed. And you can also, from the manager or admin login, generate a manager report, which is, again, bird's eye view with a little more granular detail built in. Taking it chunk by chunk, it's going to give you the organization report, which will tell you, again, number of staff, number of learners, the number of tasks that have been assigned, which are those individualized prompting tasks, which I'm going to show you once I jump onto the mobile side, how easy it is to create and customize those. It's going to tell you the number of sessions, the number of tasks that have been completed. Each task comes with a built-in assessment model, which, again, I will show you in detail, but this is going to tell you the number of assessments that have been done and the number of tasks that have been mastered, which is objective data gleaned from these assessments. Top of the pyramid, you have access to all of the staff within the agency, as well as the information that can be gathered from the columns here. And same, top of that pyramid, you have the ability to see all the learners in the agency with the information gathered from these columns. Most notably is this average improvement across tasks. So that built-in assessment model I spoke of with the task, that's going to tell you how a consumer or an individual is progressing on each of the individual tasks they've been assigned. If you want that boiled down to one singular number, so how is Mike progressing on all the tasks that I've been assigned? This is where you could get that information. This report here, it can be downloaded as a CSV or Excel file or a PDF as well. So same thing in that top of the pyramid, jumping up on the left here, you see library. This is where these tasks live. So again, I'm going to show you more specifically what they look like, but it's important to know how they're housed here. So think about the library as three different buckets. Right? Up at the top here, you've got the Browse Avail library. So that's bucket number one. The software comes preloaded right now with, I think the number's at about 100 templated tasks based off of feedback we've gotten from users and the agencies supporting them. Any one of those tasks can be moved into the agency library or bucket number two. Once a task lives here, whether it's a template we've created or it's something the agency themselves has created, any staff has the ability to drag and drop something from the agency library into their personal library or bucket number three. So a task like preparing for work might benefit 10 consumers that you're working with. You don't need to create that task from scratch 10 separate times. You can create a template of it, have it live in the agency library, drag and drop it over. Once it's in your library, you can assign it to a learner and customize it for that specific learner, but it doesn't affect how the template exists in the agency library. So it cuts down on a lot of that redundancy of work. Finally, going up along the left, we've got people. So again, that top of the pyramid, you're going to have access to all of the learners as well as all of the staff. Adding a new staff is as simple as just click Add New Account, first name, last name, assign them a role, give them an email. It's going to prompt them to create a username and password from there. Adding a new learner, provided there's a license available, is just as simple. The difference being here, you would actually create the username and password for the consumer. Some of our consumers either don't have access to an email account or might have forgotten what the password is for their email account. This way, it negates the need of having an email. You create their username and password right in here, and then they could use that to log into theirs. Not sure if there's any questions just on the broad reporting that's done from the top of the pyramid. Let me stop sharing and check out the chat here. Perfect. Okay. So if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into the mobile side now. Always takes a second for Zoom to connect. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm in right now, see, I'm just streaming right from a tablet here. So this is that middle of the pyramid now. And this is on the mobile side. So if a job coach or a VR counselor themselves was on site observing a consumer and utilizing the app either on a smartphone or a smart device, this is what the screen would look like. Because I mentioned the software is cross-compatible, consumers don't need to purchase a new device just to utilize the software. It can be downloaded from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, so they can use their own personal smart devices, tablet, phone, to access the software. Those 3 tabs that existed on the website now exist at the bottom here. You see Profile, Library, Learners. Bottom right now we're in Profile, pretty self-explanatory. So this is just going to be picture of the staff if needed. Their login and contact information can be changed or updated as needed. Going bottom left into Learners. Because I'm in the middle of the pyramid now, I would only have access to the learners that have been assigned to me. Helps keep information confidential. Also helps streamline the process. So I, as the staff, am not scrolling through 30 different learners, only 6 of which I'm actively working with. Middle column right on the left there, see Mike Garrett, that funny looking guy there. Let's go ahead and we'll click him. So this is going to pull up all the tasks that have been assigned to this learner. Tasks can be standalone, like take public transportation or washing laundry, or they can be organized into folders like work and community. Folders can be created the same way they're created on a desktop, in that they can be named whatever you'd like them to be. The same way that only having the learners assigned to the staff helps streamline, being able to organize tasks into folders helps streamline it from the learner's side. So they're not scrolling through all their tasks trying to find their prepare for work task. You've got it organized right into their work folder. Clicking that work folder, it's going to bring up the 2 tasks that are in there. So you see sweeping a floor and getting ready for work. Because I'm in the staff login, that middle of the pyramid, when I click getting ready for work, it's going to bring up this middle page. This middle page is how you customize a task for an individual. If I was logged in from the learner, and if time it permits, I'm certainly going to log in from the learner side and show you. But if I was on the learner side, it would skip this middle step here. So the learner would open up that work folder. They know, okay, I got to start getting ready for work. Let me click getting ready for work, skips this page, and jumps right into the step-by-step prompting. This getting ready for work tab has been broken down into 7 steps. Each step in the software can have its own prompting style. It can have video, picture with audio, picture without audio, just audio, text to screen, depending on the learning style of the individual. What you're seeing here is an example of a picture prompt. Check your schedule. A lot of times our consumers get their schedule emailed to them, so just a picture of an email to remind them to check that.
Mike, I'm going to jump in here real quick and give a visual description. What the client, consumer, user would see is a very simple interface that pops up, and at the top it says whichever step it's on. So this one says step 1, check schedule. This is an image prompt, so it does have the icon of email to direct them to go check their email. At the bottom, it has 3 buttons which say previous step, replay. So if you had a video, it could replay it, or audio, and then next step. And then it also has a timeline at the bottom that shows them how far along they are in their task.
Thanks, Ashley. Yep. So as Ashley just mentioned, those buttons at the bottom, that's how the learner themselves would just progress and walk through whatever task they were working on. So check schedule. Once they were completed with that, hit next step. It's going to bring them up to step 2. Not sure if the audio carries through here.
We're not hearing anything. It might not be sharing audio.
Yeah, sometimes Zoom has been having an issue with the audio, but this is an example of the picture and the audio prompt. So put on your uniform, and I guess from the picture here, Looks like the person is working as a construction or traffic worker that also wants to make the varsity team, judging by that varsity jacket in the bottom right. So you could put an audio underlay for a picture if needed. Next step, again, another example of a picture prompt. And as Ashley mentioned, I want to draw your attention, those 3 bars at the bottom. Notice how they're filling in as the learner progresses through the task, gives them a waypoint as to where they're at and how much more they need to go. Next step here, this is an example of text to screen. Text to screen is compatible with any screen reading or accessibility built into the device. Here's an example of a video prompt. Again, there's ambient noise here, but if you wanted, you could have a voiceover, some kind of instructional audio underneath here. Doesn't have to just be ambient noise. Start your workday, picture prompt, and then some final of the last step, some self-affirmation. Have a great day. You are awesome. The bottom right here, you see done. When the consumer hits done, it's going to alert staff in that consumer support circle. Mike just completed task getting ready for work at this time, and it took him this long to complete. If it was a more concrete task, so getting ready for work's a little bit more abstract, something more concrete like sweeping the floors or restocking the shelves, and you know it took me, normally it takes me about 7-8 minutes to do a task, and now you see that I'm doing it in 30 seconds, you know I'm just firing through the buttons there, right? Maybe best case scenario, I'm independent and just reviewed the steps. Maybe I completely neglected that task that day, but either way, with that information gleaned from the software, you can have that conversation with that consumer. Back into this middle page here that's available for the staff. So here's all 7 of the steps of this task we just looked at. What you just saw was one of those from that Avail library. This is just a templated task, all stock images, stock video, stock audio, etc. If you wanted to customize this for a learner, right next to each step, you see those 3 blue little dots. If you go ahead and click that, so I'm going to click it next to step 1, check schedule, and edit step. This allows me to blow apart every aspect of this step for the consumer. So I could change the title if I wanted. That stock image of just an email didn't work for them. You wanted something more personalized. Click that X in the top right corner to get rid of it. And right from the staff's device, you can select the prompting style, say video, take video, and you could take a video of that consumer accomplishing whatever step in the task it was. This way, if you were to fully customize it, that learner would be armed right on their own device, on their own phone. They would have pictures or videos of them accomplishing every step in the task. If need be, a timer can be added to any step. We've seen this used as taking a 15-minute break. So sometimes some of our consumers don't have the ability to tell time, don't know when they started their break. You could create a 1-step task that was just start your break, build a 15-minute timer in. As soon as they hit that, it's going to start that 15-minute timer and alert them when their 15 minutes are up. In addition, depending on the task and the learner, a safety icon can be applied to a step as well. That's how you edit an existing step. If you wanted to create a step from scratch, just want to show you what that would look like. So add step down here in the bottom right-hand corner. The same 4 fields we just reviewed, but again, the information zeroed out because you're starting from scratch. Create a title, add a prompting style, timer, safety icon as needed. It builds on very similar functionality to like Facebook or Instagram as far as taking a picture and uploading it. So it flattens the learning curve of any staff trying to use the software to support some individuals. If there's no questions, don't have access to the chat, but if there's no questions on creating or editing content, I want to jump into some of those assessment models. Okay, so in the middle of the screen, you see steps as blue and underlined. Right next to that is assessments. So I click assessments and new assessment. This is going to take all 7 of those steps for this task, lay them out along with the very objective complete independently, yes or no. So job coach, job developer, VR counselor, independent living staff, whoever could observe the consumer going through the task and just complete the assessment as they go. Were they able to complete step 1 independently? Say yes. Step 2, yes. Note that bar at the bottom adjusting as I go through. Yes, no, no, yes, yes, we'll say. Notes can be added into any assessment. These can be as broad or as in depth as you need them to be. For the purposes of the demo today, just put a series of A's in there. Okay. Once I hit save, 2 things happen. The first is that it keeps a running library of all the assessments that have been done for this task, along with the corresponding score and notes. Off to the left there where it says customer demonstration, that's the name of the staff that we've created. So it's going to tell you the staff that did the assessment along with the day and the time. Because multiple support staff can be assigned to a single learner, this is a good way to kind of keep track of who's doing the assessments and how a consumer is progressing through each task. Second thing that happens is the information gleaned from that assessment rolls up into some of our evidence of learning reporting. So if there's no questions on the mobile side, I'm going to jump back into the website and just show you some of that evidence of learning. Okay. The software itself, it all communicates. So the same device does not need to be used. So staff can be using their device, consumer can be using their device, and all the different devices are going to communicate with one another. So I was just on my tablet, editing that task and doing the assessment. Now I'm back in on the website and back in on my library or my laptop, I'm sorry. So same learner, this customer demonstration, or same staff, I apologize, getting tangled with my words here. Same staff, customer demonstration, same learner, this guy, Mike Garrett here. We click on him, go over to the task library. That's going to bring up those folders and tasks that we just reviewed. Work folder. And here's that getting ready for work task that we just did the assessment for. When I hit data, this is going to bring up a running graph of all the assessments that have been done over time, with the score for each assessment representing a waypoint in the graph. Very easy way to visualize a build towards independence. Also a really easy way for staff to use their time more pointedly. So job coaches supporting a consumer starts to phase out. Through these assessments, whether it's done maybe following up with the consumer themselves, following up with the site manager, department manager, whoever, you could identify dips in productivity. So now when I go back in to follow up with that consumer, I know, okay, Mike seems to be struggling on the tasks at the start of the day. Let me go back and follow up with them at the start of his shift rather than just randomly throughout and trying to get a feel for how he's doing on everything. All assessments and notes still housed underneath. And again, I mentioned the devices communicating. Here's that last assessment that we just did with those notes. So done on the tablet, communicates instantly with the laptop.
Let me describe this assessment report. On this data window that's pulled up, there's a graph at the top that shows you the wavelength to kind of help you visualize how well the consumer user has been doing. And then underneath that, there is a table which specifies each date of assessment, the score that was received, how many steps were in the assessment, and the comments from whoever assessed.
Thank you, Ashley. Going across the top here, so reduction of prompts. We talked about those different prompting styles, right? Video, picture, text, audio. Each one of those prompting styles is going to have a different color in this graph here. Oh, clicked out of it, I'm sorry. So the software, just like any in-person support, does not want to create a codependency. It wants to build towards independence. So as somebody is consistently hitting 75% on a task based off of this evidence of learning graph, the software will prompt its support staff to say, Mike is doing well and prepared to arrive for work. Why don't we try reducing some of those prompts? As I first get started in a task, it'll probably be mostly videos, as that's the most supportive style of prompt. As I start to master it, the software will prompt, let's get rid of one of those videos. Let's infuse some pictures. Try to wean me off the software, help me build towards independence on whatever task I'm working on. Important to note, that's just a prompt to do that. The software does not automatically do it. So if a consumer is perfectly happy using the videos, doesn't want to start to wean themselves off, it's not going to make any of those changes for you. It's just going to give you a prompt saying that if you wanted to and the consumer wanted to, you could start to reduce either the number or the support style of those prompts. Lastly, across the top here is the duration. Duration is going to have it broken down by each month, and it's going to tell you the number of times that task was active in a given month, along with the average time it took to complete. If you wanted to see all, say, 5 of these times, clicking this down arrow off to the right, it's going to bring up each one of those times, the time spent, and whether or not the task was completed. So this will allow you to know if a consumer only got maybe 2 steps in, 3 steps in, whatever it was, and X'd out of it, it'll tell you if the task wasn't completed.
I just wanted to mention for the reduction of prompts, I think that's a really nice feature because, I mean, it gives you a clear guideline on how to lower prompting cues. And I know that our goal usually for consumers that we might implement this with is we want them to be able to complete tasks without relying on a job coach or their managers or coworkers. And having videos is great, but they can be time consuming. So not only do we want someone to learn how to do the task independently, but we also want to make them more efficient so that they become more and more valuable to that company. And so if you think about pictures take less time than videos. So it's nice if you can reduce that prompt and then reduce it down again to text. So it's just a quick jump through. Maybe text is like the last phase that they use just to give themselves quick reminders on what to do. And so I think that's very valuable to be able to see that process of learning.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Actually, it also too on the mobile side, as you edit a step, it's also going to have instructions on how to reduce those prompts for consumers, or not consumers, for staff that maybe isn't as familiar with task analysis or prompt reduction. So it'll tell you what an appropriate next step is. So if it was a video prompt, it'll tell you if you wanted to reduce it, try a picture, try audio, or try just deactivating the step if they don't need the prompt for that. So again, it's going to walk you through how best, if appropriate, to wean somebody off the software to build towards independence.
And then through those assessments, you can also see maybe it was a mistake to take off the higher level prompting. They're not doing so well on that task or that step. So maybe you need to go back to video, or like Mike mentioned before, doing a video of them actually completing the task to see. And so those assessment reports really help with that as well.
All 3 work very hand in hand with each other because it's going to show you the prompting style, and it'll let you know whether or not it's effective and whether or not the consumer is actually carrying through and completing each of the steps of the task. So they all work very hand in hand with each other. The data we just saw was for that one task, that get ready for work task. In this learner, if I click generate report up in the top right, this is going to bring up a full evidence of learning report for this learner. So it's going to show that information we just saw for every task that the learner's been assigned. So learner Mike Guerra, here's the 8 tasks that he's been assigned. And for each one, it's going to show you the steps and the prompting style, the evidence of learning line graph with the assessments and notes housed underneath, that reduction of prompts tab, and the duration report. It will give you that for every task that the consumer has been assigned. And similar to the manager's report, this can be downloaded as a CSV or Excel file or a PDF as well. Can be used to help supplement any notes. Having worked as a VR counselor myself in New Jersey, I would have loved to have gotten a report like this to supplement some of the notes we got back from the job coaches, just to have that narrative from the job coaching report and also have the subjective data of how somebody's progressing through each of their tasks. Still in looking at this learner's data, if I click associations here, so I mentioned multiple support can be attached to a single learner. This is where you're going to see what that learner support circle looks like. So this learner, Mike Guerra, has one manager, has 3 facilitators, which is that direct support, job coaches, job developers, whoever, and 1 passive facilitator. A passive facilitator is a support with restricted access. So best practice we've seen with something like this is you could add, say, you know, I am the consumer, I'm getting job coaching, but I'm still living with my parents. You could put my mom or dad right in here. It would give them access only to my information, but they would be able to see what I'm working on and how I'm progressing through each. In addition, that agency library, the passive facilitator does not have the ability to edit any of the content in that agency library. They can create their own to work with me at home, but they can't edit anything that, you know, Ashley's supported employment agency has created. Being able to have a robust support circle like this is good because it breaks down communication barriers as well. So when I showed before in the people tab how to add new staff in, and it said email, note that email wasn't domain specific. So if Mike's supported employment agency is the one utilizing the software, I can add people that don't work for my supported employment agency in as facilitators, passive facilitators. So we could add in the VR counselor. We could add in a mental health practitioner if you wanted, a parent, group home staff, whoever. This way, you as the VR counselor, if you were in the consumer support circle, you wouldn't need to try to schedule time with a job coach that might not have any time to spare to see how a specific consumer is doing. At any point, you'd be able to log in, see what that consumer is working on and how they're progressing through each. In addition, if this learner, Mike Guerra, is working on a task like, again, something more concrete, like stocking the shelves, cleaning the floors. Now, because everybody in the support circle can see how I'm being coached or how that learner is being coached, there can be reinforcement of the message. So this learner is not being told how to do that task 5 different ways by 5 different people. Everybody can see exactly how he's being coached and have consistency in that learning and reinforcement of that message, regardless of the setting that the learner is in. Finally, what I want to show, just in the schedule here, any task that's been assigned to a learner could be scheduled out for a day and time. So that getting ready for work task that we've been focusing on today. You know, I work Wednesdays and Thursdays at 10 o'clock, takes me an hour to get ready. You can drag and drop this task over, assign it for a day and time, so say an hour before I start working, and repeat it weekly. Now, I, as the learner, on whatever device I'm using the software on, will get the alert saying, Mike, it's time to start task, get ready for work. And when I click that alert, it's going to open it up right to that task.
Mike, can tasks be scheduled if you're creating them in a mobile app, in the mobile app?
Yes. Schedule function in the mobile side is the exact same. So drag and drop over, and it's going to bring up these fields. So you just assign it for a day and time and alert whether or not you, or select whether or not you want to repeat it. But yes, the schedule function is the same in the mobile side. Great question. Thank you, Ashley. So that is the quick version of the broad overview of the software. Happy to, if anybody wants to see, log in from the learner side just to show you what that looks like from the mobile side. But again, walk through the prompting there. So that's what it would look like from their screen as they navigated the individual tasks. So if there's interest, more than happy to log in from the learner side. If not, I'm more than happy to answer whatever questions anybody might have.
I would love for everybody to see the user side on the mobile app. I think we have plenty of time for that. And can you explain the difference for the staff roles? Who has access to the mobile app and who has access to the online portal?
So from staff, so I'm just logging in as the learner here. The staff side, you're going to have access to the mobile and the website. The learner themselves, the profile only exists on the mobile side. So what I'm going to show you right now is what the learner would see. This takes a second for Zoom to connect here. There we go. Okay. So to your question, Ashley, staff has the ability to go in on the mobile, as we saw before, and the website, which I've been showing. The learner themselves has just access to the mobile side, and this is what they would see. So logged in as the learner right now, it's going to bring you right to the home screen, which is going to have either those standalone tasks or the folders. Clicking on the folder work, that's the one we've been looking at mostly today. It's going to bring up those 2 tasks we spoke about before. So sweeping the floor, getting ready for work. So clicking getting ready for work is going to bring you right into that step-by-step prompting that we reviewed before. So again, the picture, the video, audio, text prompt, along with the navigation at the bottom. Next step. Again, the audio here that I don't think is carrying through. Next step. They're also able to see that the bars at the bottom, giving them that waypoint. And Ashley, as you mentioned, anything with audio or video, that middle button replay, you can replay a step as many times as was needed. So the video that we have built in here is the clocking in, again, just that stock video. But if you wanted to have a video of the learner clocking in with their actual punch code, and they needed to review it a couple times, right in the middle, just click replay. It's going to replay the video as many times as they need. Step. You are awesome with that done button. Congratulations, task completed. You have finished all steps. Once they complete that, brings them right back to the home screen. Also like to mention here too, up at the top left, you see that box with the arrow in it. That's the log out button. The learner has to press and hold that for about 5 or 6 seconds. And then a prompt is going to come up saying, are you sure you want to log out? Hit yes. Unless those 2 things are done, the software keeps the learner logged in. So they don't always have to remember their username or password, have to log in every time. If the app is minimized, reopen, keeps you logged in. If you close out of the app, reopen it, it's still going to keep you logged in. Very simple, very straightforward, very streamlined from the learner side.
Does anyone have
Also-
any questions for Mike from the learner side that you're seeing here?
Also, just want to mention too, from the learner side, once all of the content has been downloaded, you can pull the learner's device offline. They still have access to all of the tasks that they've been assigned. So if I were to pull this device off the internet right now, I can't do that because then you wouldn't be able to see it streaming here, but I would still be able to access any of the content that's been downloaded for me. So if my employer doesn't want me connected to the internet, I'm working in a basement or a laundry room that I don't get great internet service, it's not going to have any effect on the functionality of the software.
So Mike, we have a question. Can you give more examples of the kind of tasks that are usually completed with this?
Yeah, so it depends on the learner. You know, we've had everything from some very concrete skills to some of the abstract ones like preparing for work to what to do when I'm frustrated. Because it can be customized to that learner, there's really no limitation to what can be added in there. So something like soft skills training, like what to do when I'm frustrated, or what to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Because you can create and customize for that learner, rather than having just say stock audio of something trying to calm somebody down, you can have audio recording of mom or dad in there, a group home staff they feel connected with, a job coach, coaching them through, you know, breathing activities, relaxation techniques, whatever it is. So there is a wide array of what can be put in here. We've seen, activities of daily living. Somebody wants to work on cooking skills. So obviously the step-by-step on how to use some of the appliances, but also you can build recipes in here, right? Just walking somebody through whatever meal they want to learn to cook. What's step one? So if it's making mac and cheese, right? Step one, boil the water. Step two, add the pasta. So yeah, I mean, not to be dodgy with the question, but there's really no limit to what can be put in here, because again, it can be so individualized.
Mike, another example would be taking public transportation or calling an Uber. You could create a task for calling an Uber, and then you could set the reminder. So call your Uber at 9 a.m. every morning to get to work by 10. But I mean, you can make any kind of task to help with employment or navigating the community. The transportation's a big one. And then there was a follow-up question, Mike. It said, are what's already included in AVAIL? So
yeah, so in that AVAIL library, like I don't know the exact number offhand, but it's about 100. And again, that's based off of feedback we've gotten from learners and agencies supporting them. So there is some of those, like Lydia mentioned, so taking public transportation. There's some basic templates of some of those soft skills, what to do when I'm frustrated, what to do when I'm mad, accepting no as an answer. There can be different day programs, right, are required to do different types of drills. So there could be like I think there's a prepare for a fire drill, an active shooter drill built in there. Again, just templates to help kind of gauge a framework that somebody could either edit based off of or just create their own from scratch.
Also, I want to mention that there's a couple of levels of libraries that are available, right, Mike? So you have your organizational library as well, that everyone who's within that organization can plop some tasks into as default tasks that other people can use, especially like a CRP that might have several consumers working at the same facility, could put that into the organizational library and pull from that for each learner.
Yeah, that would be exactly right, Ashley. So that middle, that agency library, whatever is in there, all the staff of that agency have access to that. So that's the templates that have been drag and dropped, or something that's just been created by the job coaches of the agency themselves.
like even for project search, if you wanted to elaborate, if there's multiple individuals working on the same site, but needing different prompting styles, the instructor or coach or whomever could take the task and individualize it, but it might be the same task, but the steps might be individualized.
Yeah,
And you
each
can
of those
drag and drop.
rotations, yeah, if you knew kind of what was coming for each of those rotations, you could pre-create the tasks that you know are going to be expected of each intern, put them in there, and then if needed, customize them for the intern. Absolutely right. Thanks, Lydia.
And my personal experience, I even had great support from Mike and Sam whenever we purchased a license for a consumer. They went in and created some templates for me to go by and helped at least start my library on our end as well. So that was very, very helpful.
Yeah, we're always available to help with stuff like that. Best practices, just kind of creating some templates. Absolutely. I think I just saw another question pop up. Does the app give alert notification schedule task? Yes. So if you've scheduled out a task for a consumer at whatever day and time you've scheduled it for, they're going to get an alert on their device saying it's time to start task, prepare to arrive for work. It's time to start task, taking a shower, whatever it was. And when they click that alert, just like you would click any other app notification, it's going to bring them right to the task. So it won't bring them to their home screen. It'll start them with the step-by-step prompting for that task. So
I believe it functions with Apple Watch too. So they would get a notification on their Apple Watch if they have one, of course, but.
Are there any alternate languages available or options for alternate languages?
I don't want to say one way or another. Lydia, do you have a concrete answer for that?
I was trying to think as far as pre-made tasks, and I can find out with you or for you and get back with you, Ashley. But as far as pre-made tasks, not that I'm aware of yet, But of course, if there's a need for that, we want to be accommodating. So
Mhm.
we can find out and let you know. Ashley, if you don't mind passing along.
Yeah, and that was a question from a direct message. And so I would also suggest or offer this answer: whenever you're creating the task for a specific individual, you would be able to put the text in whatever language they use, or record videos and audio in Spanish or Vietnamese or whatever language they perceive the best. Some videos could be recorded with sign language, whatever would work better for that consumer. Also, here's another question. Do you have a free trial period?
Yeah, I mean, we're always happy to work with agencies, VR counselors, whoever. If somebody wanted to get in and do a trial of the software for a finite amount of time, usually it's about 21 days, happy to kind of arrange something like that, which will give you the chance to go in, just tinker around with it, see exactly how easy it is to create and edit content. Yeah, if somebody was interested in that, you could reach out to me directly and I'd be more than happy to coordinate that with you. And I'm not sure if everybody here has my contact information. Ashley, is that something you'd be able to share afterwards, or do you want me just to put my email on the chat right now?
Will you go ahead and put that in chat?
Sure.
And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my closing slides, but if anybody has a question about AVAIL, please don't hesitate to still put those in the chat or unmute yourself and ask. We are happy to continue talking about AVAIL. I want to just give a second to talk about APTAT, which is what this webinar was scheduled through. That is our new project of the Rehab Engineering and Assistive Technology Program. And that is providing services funded through the Assistive Technology Act. So through that, we have been able to start a lending library of assistive technology. We also can provide assistive technology demonstrations. And these services are not just for ADRS consumers. This is statewide. So we can provide AT demonstrations. We can do AT training, which is what we started the webinar series for. You can also request additional training. We can provide technical assistance if your organization is wanting to improve your assistive technology services or procedures. We can help you with that. And we can also provide you information about assistive technology vendors or products or anything, services that you might be interested in. So to access our lending library, you would go to al.at for all, create an account, and then you would be able to check out any of the items that we have for short-term loans. And that's at no cost to you. So Alabamians can borrow our assistive technology for short-term loans. You can do it, you can borrow to aid in decision-making. You can use it as a temporary accommodation. It can serve as a loaner if you're looking for funding or a device is being repaired. Or if you just want to learn more about a specific product to increase your knowledge of assistive technology, you can also borrow that from our lending library. Our upcoming APTAT webinars, we do have one in September. I just have the information to put up here. That will be about communication technology and increasing web accessibility. In October, we will have Safe in Home discussing their remote supports, another great service like AVAIL. And so that's our upcoming webinars. If you want to stay on top of that, go to startraining.org/events, or you can also email your training requests to me. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, I do typically send out our webinar announcements. You can text APTAT, APTAT, to 22828. APTAT to 22828, and that will sign you up. It'll ask you for your email. It'll sign you up for a newsletter. I will put these websites in the chat. Now, back to AVAIL. Does anyone have any more questions about AVAIL? Is there anything else you wanted to mention, Mike, that you just thought?
Just wanted to, yeah, I mean, I know all too well how it is, right? Like you get something and then 10 minutes later on the drive home or something, a question hits you. So please, any questions, any additional information, anything that anybody needs, it's never in a position, just reach out at any point. Happy to answer your question or get you whatever information you're looking for.
And I just wanted to add, Mike, that my name's Lydia, and I was an employment specialist here in town at a supported employment agency. And so anyways, I'm in Birmingham. If there's anyone that wanted to look at the app in person or wanted, if there was a job coach you were working with, I'm happy to go on site and help create tasks or do anything, especially since I'm local. So I just wanted to add that in there.
We do have a question about cost. Of course, that's always a good question.
Yeah, so there's a couple different avenues of funding available. So any kind of, if people have questions about the cost of it, it's probably easier just to have an individualized conversation about it, just to see what exactly the needs are. And then I can kind of let you know more specifics. But also, I think, and either Regan or Reagan, I apologize, but you had a question about the trial. Yeah, it's a free trial, that 21 days. So if that's something you were interested in, just reach out to me. More than happy to coordinate that with you, get you set up, get you whatever onboarding training you need, and then just let you go and start creating some of that content, because it's easy, very user friendly, very, very simple to do.
It is. And since most of you are from ADRS, I'll just go ahead and say that we already have an agency account. And so it's as simple as the VR counselor can send a purchase order to the AVAIL rep, get it purchased. That license will automatically show up in our agency account. And then either me or whoever's assigned as a manager, whoever, does the administrator assign licenses, or can a manager assign licenses?
Administrator, I believe.
Okay, so then I would have to go in and assign that license to a learner. So it's really simple. It's very quick and easy to do.
Even simpler too, as far as whatever job coaching agency, if they were using it at a supported employment agency, we take care of training and onboarding the job coaches internally. So it's not a burden that's put on you as the counselor. Like I said, I was a VR counselor for a number of years, so I know exactly how spread thin all of you guys are. So never going to add anything else on your plate. That's something we handle internally. So you have a consumer that you feel would benefit from it, just let us know. We'll coordinate the training of all pertinent individuals and all pertinent parties.
And it's a very thorough training, and they are available for follow-ups as well to make sure each step of the way that you have support. So it's been really helpful. So regarding the recording, this will be on YouTube. I know some people said they have had technical difficulties. So if you go to our YouTube channel, search for Accessing Potential Through Assistive Technology. That is our YouTube channel. That's where we're going to post the recording of this as well. I don't think I see any more questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on for a couple more minutes, or
Ooh,
like I said, any questions anybody else has, just let me know at any point.
I thought of something else that can be done that we've talked about, is even if the license was originally purchased, or staff or learner were created under, let's say, our ADRS agency account, but then we want to transfer it over to a different agency account because VR will no longer be supporting that. Can you explain how that process works?
Yeah, so that goes into the like again, the different avenues of funding. So as far as the specific cost and numbers, but everything is saved, right? So specifically for that consumer, we talked about everything being saved right in the app, right on the device. So if they were working with VR, now VR closes their case, they're independent, they're working with Mike's supported employment agency, but living in Lydia's group home, say, they're able to carry their content with them wherever they go, as long as that license is active, regardless of the funding source. So whatever content is created for them, they're never going to lose that. Even if VR closes their case, if their license is still active, they get to take their content with them. Just helps kind of connect bridges and connect them to whatever the new setting or whatever the new journey they're embarking on.
Right, so their license, we're not saying that their license would end just because VR closes their case. Their license is still active. It just might be that VR cannot provide support for it anymore. So we might want to pass their account on to the agency that is going to continue providing support for that learner. And I think that's very useful feature, so that we make sure that it continues to be supported. Of course, we always hope that everyone will gain the independence and not need the app anymore, but that's the goal, right? We want to
That's
keep
the goal.
creating independence. But we don't want their license to just end either. So that's,
Yeah, the goal is also just not to kind of leave people high and dry as well.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, they'll always, that content will always be there regardless of the funding source. It'll follow them through as long as they need it to.
All right. I think that's all. So I really appreciate you, Mike and Lydia. Thank y'all so much for doing this. And
No. Ashley,
Thank you,
thank you so
Ashley.
much. Yeah, so happy to do this. Thank you everybody for all of your time. I know I can be long-winded at times, so we went the full hour, but thank you. I appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you.
thank you. Bye-bye,
Bye, Ashley.
everyone.